Rebels say that they have fired a rocket at Al Yamama Palace in Saudi Arabia's capital of Riyadh yesterday. Saudi Arabia intercepted and destroyed the rocket with Patriot missiles before it hit its target. There are no reports of injuries or damage. It comes hours after King Salman was set to lead a budget ceremony. It's the latest instance of the escalating tensions between Saudi Arabia and neighboring Iran, which the United States and the Saudis say back the Houthis with arms, something Iran denies. It comes about a week after Ambassador Nikki Haley displayed what the White House says is an Iranian-made missile fired by the Houthis in Yemen from Yemen, into Saudi Arabia back in November. The ambassador again admonished Iran yesterday after the rocket attack. Joining us now is the Director of Global Strategy, Marco Vicenzino. Marco, great to have you with us. This is almost the second time in as many months that Saudi Arabia and the United States are alleging that Houthi rebels in Yemen have fired this ballistic missile into Saudi Arabia. What does that say about the state of affairs in this ongoing conflict that has now reached its 1,000th day?
This is, it's occurring within the context of a region that's in dramatic change. The region itself, but also dramatic change within Saudi Arabia itself. We're looking at a generational change of power. So a lot of the action that you're seeing, particularly from the Saudi side, is done within that context. The young crown prince has to prove himself at home, within the region, and abroad. This is further intensification. I mean, the Yemen war, you could say, is the war of the crown prince. And it's been categorized as his war in many ways. He needs to prove at home that he's strong. And on the Iranian side, within the context of this global proxy war, we can call it, that does just not involve Yemen. Look in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, many places throughout the region. That young prince has to prove himself, the crown prince. So in this sense, I would say we're going to look at further intensification, and I don't see this proxy conflict ending anytime soon. I think both the Iranians and the Saudis realize they want to avoid a direct conflict.
So
but they're willing
to
using proxies. That will continue and escalate.
So as we can see with Haley in the background of that shot that we just showed with that missile in the background, sort of claiming that it was an Iranian-backed missile, we know that she's trying to drum up support for new UN Security Council sanctions against Iran. With in mind sort of the veto power of both Russia and China, and then considering Haley's own veto with regards to the Jerusalem capital vote just the other day, what do you think the chances are that she can get the support?
Very difficult, particularly if you're in the two countries you mentioned, the Chinese and the Russians. The Chinese and the Russians will play, obviously, the Chinese take more of a role that if they may not have voted against it, they'll generally abstain. But the Russians have a direct stake. Russian influence in the region particularly shifted in September of 2015 when they launched air support for the Assad regime. From that point onwards, things have changed in the region. So Russia, I wouldn't say is an ally of Iran, but it has much in convergence with Iran, particularly on Syria, but also the Russians are far more pragmatic. They want a relationship with the Saudis and other religions. They want to be a power broker. But when it regards something like this, I think the Russians will play a clear role to make sure there's no unanimity at the table, because this doesn't just involve the United States with regard to the missile in Yemen. This regards other issues on the Security Council. Security Council is only effective when the interests of the five major powers converge at the negotiating table.
Yeah, it seems so many of the times they're kind of vetoing each other just to spite the other person's stated objective.
Both China and Russia have voted against additional sanctions as well.
All right, Marco Vicenzino, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.